So, welcome to another edition of Open for Business. And today we're going to talk about something that you really don't put one and one together with the divorce and the pandemic. And this company here, My Divorce Solution, they are actually serving a really important purpose. There's a lot of divorces that have been started, and now this pandemic has hit, and Karen Chellew and Catherine Shanahan are here to tell you what you need to do in order to get through this very trying time. Number one, you're right in the middle of divorce, and number two, we have this pandemic. What are you telling your clients?
Yeah, it's nice to be with you today, Marjorie, and thank you for having us. A crisis like this can be very sobering. Being home, you may have been thinking divorce, and now or you may have even started the process, and now you're stuck at home, or you feel stuck at home, even worse because it's toxic and you can't get out, and now what do you do? So Karen and I have been fielding a lot of phone calls because people don't know what to do. We have been set up digitally for a long time. We do have a virtual office. So we have been working with our clients, keeping them positive, giving them some steps to take in this time period to keep them moving forward in a positive direction, and really soul searching if they can, to keep their feet grounded and feeling that they can move forward. And some people may even reconcile during this time period. We don't know. Our goal is to just keep them positive and to find what they have to do for themselves.
It's a lot of time. So what do you tell your clients to do?
Well, today you're in your home. So one of the things we start to do is really focus on what your needs are. So one tip that we can give you is to start working on your budget. So Karen this is her sweet spot. So she works with our clients a lot with their budget. And so Karen, maybe you want to talk to them a little bit about tips with their budget.
Sure. So whether you have a business or your personal finances, I know a lot of businesses have a tendency to pay their personal bills out of their business account. So this is a good time to get that cleaned up, because if you're going to get divorced, that's one of the places that will be looked at first. And that's not a good thing to be happening in a business account if you're paying personal finances out of your business account. So it is good to know to separate personal finances from business finances and know what your personal finances are. Those two factors are incredibly important. When people start to think about their budget, some people like to work, on paper. Some people like to work digitally, and some people like to work on spreadsheets. And when I say digitally, I mean apps. There's a ton of apps out there to help you. And I always encourage my clients to start just getting everything on the table and then divide and conquer, as you say. So if you look at a budget sheet, it can be daunting. There's probably 30 to 50 things listed as to what could be on your budget. But if you just start filling it out, you'll start to feel comfortable with how you're spending money. And the most important thing is we eventually want you to become the CEO of your financial life. And starting with that budget is the first step in doing that.
So I would imagine during this pandemic, like if somebody does own a business, value of the business might go down. So how does that affect the split during a divorce?
Well, when we do I think we'll handle this in two parts probably, Karen. So we put together your financial portrait for you, which is the foundation for your divorce process. And one of those is the valuation of your business. And there's many ways to value your business. 2020 will be very different for valuing your business because you have to determine how your business is being affected now. And it'll be really interesting to see how you may want to take this time to see how your business is being affected. Will your business come back? How will we value it? Will it recover? What measures will you take when it does recover? Karen is really involved with the applications that people are going through now. And maybe you want to pick up here, Karen.
Sure. So we've had quite a few couples going through divorce where a business was involved, and we interface with the attorneys a lot because they rely on us to provide them accurate and updated financial information. And what's being fed back to us is everyone needs to know, first of all, has the business been affected? If it has, does it believe it's going to recover? What has the business done for itself to sustain itself? So has it made applications to the SBA and under the Paycheck Protection Program? Has it called its vendors and tried to get deferments of loans? And has it called its utilities to try to get credits where credits can be had? Those things will be looked at when you're trying, if you're a business owner, if you're saying my business is crumbling or has taken a hit, you're going to need to prove the steps that you've taken to sustain it. And those steps will be very important as you're going through the process. So while most assets are divided on the date of separation, these factors, whether there's a substantial increase or decrease, the attorneys are coming back to us saying, what is the evidence that the client has to substantiate the increase or decrease? And it is factored in. We're watching it happen. So it's really important that you take the necessary steps to sustain and do all you can to keep it supported, and that you're able to document it. And again, back to the budget, it's so important that you get those personal finances out of your business account, because everything plays into this, and you want to be as transparent and as accountable as possible as you're proceeding through the divorce process.
What is the percentage of your clients that have it mixed together, business and personal? I bet it's a lot.
Extremely high.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, that's one of the things we try to address right out of the gate when we're working with clients, is getting that done, because it really confuses and it creates a lot of adversity and a lot of attorneys' fees if that's not done before negotiations or mediation starts.
So if
The
you
stat right now is that a lot of people are losing their jobs, or they're not working, they own these businesses in their home, and one of the spouses is sitting at home and they have these bills, but the business isn't bringing in. They don't realize that that business was also paying their home bills, but the spouse who was saying, well, they didn't really understand that that business was also paying their home bills, but they're not really getting it because they weren't partaking in that activity because they don't understand the budget. They never partake in that relationship. A lot of people don't have a good relationship with money. Whether it's their fault or not, they never had accountability for it because that wasn't their role. And today they have to learn to take on that responsibility. And as Karen will always say, be the CEO to your own budget, your own responsibility. This is the time to step up to that. You will feel so empowered by doing that. I hear her saying that to our clients all the time, because we do help them move on to their own independent life. It's so empowering, and it's such a great tool to teach our children moving forward as well.
great model, good example.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you really measure the profitability of your business if you're co-mingling your personal finances? So it's even empowering to you as a business owner when you can look at a P&L that's purely business, and then utilize the net proceeds and in a way to support your life. It really makes things very clear.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So have you had anybody who's like, well, it's okay, let the business go away and I'll start it again after the pandemic? I mean, well,
if they're facing divorce, absolutely. Because, it's an equitable distribution. A lot of times individuals say, it's my business, I started it, and you don't get it. What they don't realize is what's the difference between marital and non-marital. So if that business was started during your marriage, and even if it was started premarital, but it grew during your marriage, that's a marital asset. So even though that business was not in your name and you did not work in that business, if that business grew during the marriage, there's a marital component to that business. So once the person who finds out that it becomes a marital asset, they think in their head, well, yes, I'll close that business down and I'll start a new one to make it a non-marital asset. You know, so that is going through the thoughts of many people's minds.
Yeah, it might be a real strategy now with this pandemic.
It is a real strategy now.
Mhm. And we're already getting attorneys asking the question back to us then, if the business is closing down, again, what did it do to sustain itself? Because if you're closing down a business intentionally, it seems the attorneys are taking the position then that, you know, then there's a component assigned to you as a business owner for not doing what it takes to keep it in motion. So it may seem simple on the surface, but I caution anyone who takes that approach to make sure they have legal advice that it's going to be advantageous to them if they're going through a divorce, because it could prove to be more disadvantageous than advantageous.
So my solution, tell me what, you guys are consultants to, is it women or men or how does that work for people that are going through a divorce or thinking about getting a divorce? They contact you first or an attorney first? What is the process?
Well, it's really hard to make a decision about whether to get a divorce or not, especially from a financial perspective, if you don't know financially what you have and what you will be dividing. So unless a couple or a person is in a domestic violence situation or they're in harm's way, we highly recommend that they get their financials in order. And so we address that. Every couple that comes to us or individual, we have men, women, couples.
Okay.
We don't discriminate. But the first step is to develop that financial portrait, and that's assembling all of the documents that comprise your marital estate, helping you understand what they are, assembling, organizing them for you so that you have a really clear idea of what the marital estate is and what it will look like divided, so that you can take that document with all the supporting evidence to your attorney, your mediator, or you can negotiate with us and be able to make really good, clear financial decisions for yourself. So Catherine can speak more to that as in your role as a CDFA.
So I'm a certified divorce financial analyst. And so when we compile your assets, a lot of people just don't know what they have. And sure, they know they want a divorce and they know that they have to go through a process to get that. But like, as we talked about the business, they don't know if a pension or an IRA, and they don't know what's marital and what's not marital. And they're just not privy to a lot of that information. It wasn't their role. They don't have a good relationship with money. And whether it's the male or the female, as Karen said, we don't discriminate. What we want them to know is that they need to have clarity and they need to have knowledge before they make any decision moving forward. You know, we can't tell you how many people come to us and say, I wish I knew you 5 years ago. We're not attorneys. We do not seek to give any type of legal advice. That's not our role. Our role is to make sure that you have as much knowledge, as much financial clarity that you can have. And then Karen's role is to make sure that you have as much information that you need, so that you understand the process afterwards, that you can make clear decisions before you sign any documents. So she affirms any decisions you make after the fact so that you can move on to your independent life. And so we work together with your team of advisors to move on to your life, with your mortgage advisors, anyone else. And we would like to talk about that before we hang up as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, these are great.
So we're very passionate. We've both been through this process. So we understand that it's a disruption to your whole family. But we don't believe that you should be unhappily married if you're unhappily married. We believe in marriage, but we believe in making clear decisions. So gathering all your financials, and if you're in your home now, you see papers all around, you don't have to understand, but if they have numbers on them, you should be gathering them together. So you gather all those papers together. We put them together into your financial portrait. We assess them. We go over what's marital and what's not marital. We make sure that you understand what divisions could happen, what your life looks like now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, financially speaking, what some type of support numbers could look like. what tax implications could look like, what assets are marital, non-marital, what could be separate property, such as inheritances possibly, what you may have commingled, not commingled, what could be a child's asset, not a child's asset, what might be deeded in your name or titled in your name or not titled in your name. So we go through all of that. Hopefully both of you come together, because our belief is if you both have your own attorneys or you go to a mediator, why would you need two attorneys gathering the same information? So if you both come to us, we're gathering the same information that you can share with your two attorneys. So we do that, and then if you both agree, you can share it with your two attorneys. So we go through that. We call it your financial portrait. You can either do it self-directed, or you could do it with us certifying it for you. Once we do that, again, we can either help do a financial negotiation with you, or you go on to a mediator, or you go on to your attorneys. Do it that way. One of the biggest assets is your home if you don't have a business. And that home right now, these mortgage rates are at their lowest. Karen works with your mortgage advisor. But now is a time to go through your home. If you feel like you're stuck because the courts are down and they're only taking emergency cases right now, and if you feel like you have an emergency case, you should call your attorney. If you feel like you're in a domestic violence case, we don't handle that, but you should go seek help for that. Do not wait because of the virus. Nobody should be forced to wait on that. So yes, go seek a shelter. Go seek support if you need that. They are seeing cases for that. But if you're in your home, go through your home. There are things that you can do. You do have to divide personal property when the courts open up. You can go in your home and you can go to your living room and say, okay, I want my couch. Do you want the couch? You could put a Post-it note on it and say, okay, I want that. If it's toxic, you can go in this room by yourself and put a little Post-it note on it. If there's 2 Post-it notes on it, you know that you two have to discuss that at some point. Go through your photo albums and mark things that you want. Be proactive that way. Go through anything that you can at this time. Declutter. There are people that are going to need the clothes that you don't wear any longer. Make piles and things that your children outgrew that you don't use anymore. Put it in size categories and put it in boxes that you can put to Goodwill or give to children that you know that your friends have. You know, there's a lot of great things that we can do now to get rid of and donate to other people. Call and get refinanced right now. Rates today, Karen, what were that? 3.25? One of our
for fixed. Yeah.
Mortgage rate,
So
it went below 4. Wow.
Yeah.
Karen's hopping on a call with one of our clients today.
And the mortgage broker to talk about is that financially feasible for her in her particular situation. So, you know, I know her financial situation, so I'm able to articulate that with the mortgage broker in a way that she knows that she's making really good decisions for herself. In this particular case, yes. Mm-hmm.
Right, so she'll be ready. Like, we know she's ready for that.
Right. So, and it also helps us to know then, as we happen to be negotiating with this couple, then how that decision factors back into their negotiations so that everyone's in the loop and participating together.
You've also been working on her budget with her. Now we could plug that number into her budget.
Right. Yeah.
There's so much more to it than just getting a divorce. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And to that point, my divorce solution has taken a step to respond to COVID for our clients and for anyone out there considering divorce. We have an online course that goes through the process, the terminology, a lot of words you're going to hear that you never heard before. There's a lot of concepts that you haven't even heard about. So short of Googling our course, we've slashed it down to $49, so it's affordable to everybody. Mm-hmm. It's 10 lessons. They're 12 to 15 minutes long a piece. There's worksheets. You will learn so much. A lot of people don't even know really the term asset liability, how it differs from income and expense. So those are the things not only you will need to know, but you will need to know what they mean to you.
I think our budget's in there too, right? Is our budget's
in there? Yeah, there's like 15 different worksheets that comes along with the course. It's Catherine and I presenting, and it's extraordinarily helpful to anyone who's thinking about it or in it, and it becomes then a reference point as you move along. When you're facing those concepts, you can refer back to it and get some really good education.
If we're all stuck at home, so now's the time. If they are thinking about it, they could definitely
absolutely
and just see where they are.
Yeah,
it's nice because it's in 10-minute segments, so you don't have to sit there for 2 hours. You can just watch one course in 10 minutes. Another interesting article I read, and they said, divorce rates will probably, settle out for a little bit because a lot of people say we can't afford to get a divorce now. And what a lot of feedback we've gotten from our clients over the last 4 years is that people have saved thousands and thousands of dollars coming through our process. We're a flat fee. We don't charge a billable hour. Because of what I said earlier, why would you pay 2 attorneys to gather the same financial information? We have been able to save hundreds of thousands of dollars because that discovery process is the most expensive piece of the process. So again, don't feel like you're stuck in a volatile or an unhappy marriage. You can move forward doing this most expensive piece by coming through our process and being prepared. By doing this financial piece, this financial portrait will save you a lot of angst, money, time, stress. So don't feel like you're stuck. I hate the thought of someone feeling like they're stuck. Really, it's very sad. I just got remarried in June, and I was sitting outside with my husband the other day, and I looked at him and I just literally said, you know what? You could take away all the material things. And the fact that I can sit outside here in this really sad time and think that I'm happy, like wearing nothing, like with nothing. I'm fortunate that I have a home and that I could sit out here and know that I'm okay. Like I'm okay because I'm just happy. I'm like living in a happy state. I'm healthy and I'm happy. And I just wish that for everybody out there. That's really what I really wish for everyone, just to be healthy and happy.
Well, it's so nice to know that there's an actual service out there that y'all have been through a divorce and that you can navigate and really make really good decisions because it's such a stressful time in not only with the pandemic, but going through a divorce. So I love hearing that you have a course and that you guys are available for consulting and you have a program that you put lots and lots of folks through.
Mm-hmm.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. If they want to reach out to you, how do they do that? What's your phone number? What's your website?
So our website is www.mydivorcesolution.com.
Okay.
You can email us at hello@mydivorcesolution.com. You can reach us via phone 215-486-8347. And Catherine, do you know the other number? I don't know it off the top of my head.
You work all over the country.
Absolutely, yeah. We're national.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we have been doing some Instagram lives because we get a lot of people calling with just little questions, or Karen and I, something comes up and we think, oh my gosh, everybody needs to hear about this. So we just did start that. Just saying,
How do they find that? My Divorce Solution on Instagram?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys have so much helpful information. This has been very enlightening, and I hope anybody watching who is going through this can contact you guys and be on their way.
Absolutely. Yeah. We also have on our website a whole host of blogs and podcasts that we do similar to this, where we incorporate divorce professionals, whether it's attorneys, accountants, mortgage advisors, therapists. So anyone thinking about divorce or needing more resource will find that very helpful as well.
Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you for doing this type of work. I know it must be emotional and hard, but you guys
are committed.
You're committed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we are. Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It takes us all to make it better for everybody else. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for watching.